I'm Shwa, and you are listening to Light Up with Shwa, a weekly podcast to open our hearts and minds on a journey with me. Hi, my name is Shwa, and I am the founder and host of Light Up with Shwa. You're watching and listening to part 2 with Dennis. Enjoy. Thank you. What do you like about yourself?
Oh man, this kind of question. Well, I do take pride in. I do take pride in trying to be kind to others. Mm-hmm. That to me is very important, and I would never want to compromise that. Because at the same time, it's kind of a selfish thing, right? Because I hope that if I treat somebody else with kindness, that they'll show me the same.
I was going to come. Like, let's say somebody doesn't treat you well. What is your response?
So I think usually the best way to combat meanness or unkindness is with kindness. Because then I feel like kindness should beget more kindness, right? So if they're initially are not kind to me, if you still show kindness to them, I think they'll come around eventually.
Have you experienced that?
I think, not in any like deep context, I would say, but I think definitely in like middle school or high school, right, where there might be classmates that you don't really get along with, and so they don't really have a favorable opinion of you or things like that. But generally, what I try to do is I try to treat everyone with respect and with courtesy and everything, and generally it has worked out for me. That
the response changes. Like when you give a positive response to their bad or mean response, you have felt that they have changed, even if you have kind to them.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still not like it's not like they all of a sudden became best friends with me, right? But I think their attitude towards me or things like that, I don't know. I feel like meanness is just not sustainable. Okay. Because it's just a lot of negative energy. I think it really takes effort to be mean to someone. And so if the other person always responds in a way that doesn't provoke you, just by the laws of, equilibrium, right? Homeostasis, you're not going to try to constantly spend so much energy to try to create this negativity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I had a question earlier about when you were talking, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but now, anyways, my question now is also to you about anything that you would like to change about yourself.
I definitely think I would like to be able to read more.
Okay. Read what? What do you mean by read more? Any particular kind?
Just reading in general. Okay. I am not an avid reader by any means.
So that means that you can just practice and put more time?
Sure. But that's difficult, right? So I think for me it's difficult to get myself to sit down and read something, whatever it is.
What would you rather do if you don't read?
I consume a lot of my information from videos. I'm sort of like a more visual person, so watching videos or listening to people. But reading, just not so much. But I'm missing out, I feel like, on a lot of knowledge and a lot of perspectives, right, that have been put down in literature, that I feel like I really need to just kind of suck it up and just do it,
Okay, maybe you will. Well, then once you decide, you have said it on the world medium. So now maybe you will. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think you can do it because you are a PhD student. So that's why I'm asking, because from a young person, when we get older, all these questions might be like, oh, you're just 25. What do you want to change? You're just, So it's a good thing for me to learn and for others to see like what a person who's 25-year-old likes about himself and what doesn't he like or want to change. What do you think about what is ego, if you would like to address that question?
What is ego?
In your viewpoint, what do you think ego is? Do you have ego?
Oh, yeah. I think I definitely have ego.
How do you define ego?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, ego is sort of a manifestation of your, it's obviously pride, but pride in a way that comes at maybe a detriment to others. Pride in a way that you're not fully being considerate of other people. So I define ego as something bad to to have, but that everyone can work on, and it's always a constant, right? Because we live in such a connected community. You always have to sort of keep your ego in check. Because the natural tendency is oh, how can I make myself better and make myself the best, or and just disregard others, right? And I think that is a struggle for me too, because of course, right, whether it's any kind of achievement or anything, you want to be the winner, right? You want to be the person that does well, that gets recognized, and all of these things. But at the same time, I think the exercise, right, the practice is to constantly think in the perspective of others. Because, if I can comprehend my ego and it's oh, I want to be the best. But then if you just kind of step out for a moment and say, well, if that's what somebody else thinks too, right? And if everybody wants to be the best and there can only be, right, a first place, second place, third place, right? So if you kind of practice that kind of the out of body, third person perspective, then you realize that, okay, I should be more comfortable, right?
That's
I need to.
Handle that. That's how you handle it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's get. Thank you. It's interesting perspective. What is the value of gratitude in your life?
Gratitude. I think that actually comes hand in hand with ego for sure.
Okay.
Right.
How?
Because you have this ego, I think in order to keep it in check, showing gratitude is one of the best ways to kind of ground yourself. Because as I've traveled to so many places and things like that, right? I'm grateful to my parents, for taking me all over the world and giving me all of these experiences. And I think knowing that I did not become who I am just on my own accord, right? A lot of people in my life have influenced, who I've become, and being able to show that and being able to recognize that. And I think that's actually, talking on a more cultural context. I don't know, I might be generalizing too much here, but I think it's more so in the Asian context, the idea of gratitude is usually understood, but not really voiced.
Okay.
So, you kind of assume that the gratitude is there in terms of the actions that people do, right? But I think...
Give an example? Can you give an example?
Yeah, sure. I think, it's actually been, just saying thank you. It's actually really, I think it's still really weird. When I go back to China, and, in everyday life, just to say thank you to your family members, they're always very taken aback because, we're your family. You don't have to say thank you, right? It's assumed.
Okay, yes. Yes.
And to me, I get that, right? There's a deeper kind of assumption of gratitude. But I think, voicing it is something that I've learned kind of here, right? Kind of in Western cultures, like everything, you open the door, it's thank you. Everything is thank you here, thank you there.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't think that diminishes the value of the gratitude, even though, it's just 2 words, right? But I think it can go a long way, even in that type of assumed gratitude context, to be able to just voice it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Nice. Okay. Next question. What is the value of time for you as a young man?
Another time. Well, as a young man,
Yes.
I definitely feel like time is not really a concept that I tend to think about, because I say, I have plenty of time, I can do whatever I want, I can go enjoy myself and everything. But I feel like I'm getting to a point where I said, okay, like I'm 25 now. I am not, 16 or 17, right? Like every year I kind of think about it a little bit more. And I've kind of started to appreciate the limited amount of time that I actually have.
Already?
Yeah, in a day, right? Especially at this time, because you feel like there's so much that you can do, because you've kind of spent a lot of time, a lot of years in your life accumulating skills, accumulating, building relationships and doing all these things. And now it's like, okay, like, what can I do with all of these, right? And you're like, I have an idea here, or I have an idea there. But then you realize, I don't have time to sleep. I don't have time, I got to do all these things, and I just can't, and I have to choose. And that's, I think, kind of some of the stress becomes, like, I can't possibly do everything that I want to do. And making those choices is very difficult. So that's, time is starting to become a struggle, right? Like deciding what to commit your time to.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because I feel like, there's just like a lot of potential, right? And where you want to invest your time now is an important decision. Whereas before, you just do it.
That's true. Yeah, well, time is precious. It doesn't come back. So it's important.
Yeah. It definitely does not.
How you spend it, how you use it. Especially, being older than you, I do realize time is precious, very precious. And we always would advise older people that, please use your time, carefully, don't waste it and all that, because it's not going to come back. And you will know it. We don't want to know it when it is too late. So, anyways, but yes. What is
my parents tell that to me all the time too.
Really?
So
Okay. So, what is the purpose of your life?
So specifically, right, for me, not like the meaning of life. Okay.
No, for you, because you. I am asking you especially because the purpose changes with decades when you are older or younger. So, what is the purpose of your life at this stage that you are at?
Yeah, I think in relation to kind of the limited time that we have, I think the purpose, for me at least, as I try to do is, try to use some skill or something that I can offer, to the world, and be able to kind of create a better world for future generations. I think that to me is important because it kind of is that like more humanistic, perspective that we want to better humanity as a whole. And so if there's any way I can, contribute to that, right, I think that is a good purpose to have.
Okay.
Of course, in the limited time, right, you can't do everything. And so whatever like society thinks that I'm most suited for in terms of either a skill set or how I treat others and things like that, I would want to maximize that potential to do kind of the most good to better humanity. Okay. I think that it seems like a pretty universal purpose, so it's not really, something I would say that's probably specific to me.
Do you have any specific?
Do I have anything that's
specific? Like at this stage, like you feel that your purpose will change with time? Do you think that?
I don't think that main purpose, I don't think would change, but specifically, I mean, I can't change the world now. I don't think I can, but
change the world. What do you mean by change the world? What do you
yeah, I guess that's really broad. Change the world for the better in terms of, I don't know, like better tolerance in the world, right? Better, social, and like racial, like inequalities, like, dealing with those issues.
But the purpose, what I meant was is like as you said earlier, that you want to, create a better world for the younger generation. If you have a specific, some kind of a project or something, you can say about it. But otherwise, in general terms, yeah, you told me that that's what you want, a better place, but
right, yeah.
Your actions, is that what you're trying to do?
Okay, so yeah, specific, like to me, I think given my, probably my potential career, like, path, I work with like medical devices, right, in like the biomedical field. So that's something I feel like I have some of the skill sets to be able to kind of make the most impact in that arena. So, better, right medical technologies to, help like the general like well-being and health and patient outcomes, for people. And I think I have, at least some experience with, trying to develop these technologies and like refining them to, just improve kind of the advanced kind of medical technologies and help, humanity sort of in that way.
So that's
specific to me.
Takes you to a broader purpose also through your specific action.
Right. But, but I think even in that, right, there's elements of like, trying to, for example, making medical technologies more affordable, right? Like, you're building these medical devices, but making it affordable. Why? Because, I believe in like, healthcare for all, right? Like you're trying to make things cheaper so that it's accessible to everybody and to kind of bridge the gap, right, between all the inequalities in the world.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Just the last leg of question is going on and a couple of more. Any message of hope that you would like to give?
Oh, yeah. Keep having hope, for sure. Because I think, right, like, and that goes actually back to the whole, conversation with parents and, with the older generation. A lot of times they kind of have a, more experienced view of the world, and they say, this is the world we live in. In order to navigate, you have to do this, this, and this, right? To protect yourself, to protect your family, you got to do all of this thing. And a lot of times, I sort of reject that idea because I'm like, well, you're not really trying to change the system. You're just trying to like protect yourself, right? Which is fine. But so I think the responsibility almost for the younger generation is to have that idealism, because I think the ultimate solution is somewhere in between, right? If you just take on the old tradition and never do anything new to it, right, then the world will never change, right? Because that's always going to go as it is. And so, but, being too idealistic, right, is obviously not realistic. So I think, being able to listen and like be able to hope, but still kind of have those conversations with people, with opinions that you disagree with, is really important to reach that maybe optimal solution that can take humanity forward.
Oh, good. Okay. Good answer. I hope that people will have their opinions about it. It would be good to see what their comments are on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anything Okay, so I guess I will come to the last question.
Okay.
What lights you up?
What lights me up? Faith in humanity. I think every time I witness, people being kind to others, no matter what kind of day I'm having, even if I see, a small act of kindness where, people maybe, just donating money to their like charity or like something where it doesn't have to be big, even if it's just like somebody picking up somebody else's trash right on the ground and throwing it, just all these like small daily things, but that I witness, it always lights me up, because then it's part of that hope, right, that there is faith in humanity, right? Like I've restored some faith in humanity, despite a lot of the things that you hear in the news, right? So I think that definitely lights me up.
Thank you. Dennis, thank you so much for your time. And
thank you for interviewing me.
Yeah, welcome. Honor to do that. And I think we had a very rich and interesting conversation. And I hope to continue to interview people in your age group, so we can bring, as you said, the experienced wisdom with the idealistic, because you have to begin from somewhere, and you have to be idealistic in order to make it realistic, right? So that's a good message we have here. So thank you again, and hope to talk to you soon again, and especially after you graduate.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching part 2 with Dennis. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, listen, share, rate, and review, and let me know what you think. So, and I hope you're listening to other and watching other shows as well on Groton channel and YouTube. So, thank you. Thank you for staying with me through this exciting episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode of Light Up with Shwa.